I'm going to take inspiration for this little chat of the video by Taylor Swift called Look What You Made Me Do. Since it's Saturday morning, I'll be going thrifting. And because I am a friend of jewelry, I'm going to be working on my jewelry collection to organize it, period. If you heard the story about Kim Kardashian a couple of years ago, there was a great big jewelry heist in her house, something like $10 million. Kim Kardashian is very interesting. She's a woman that's going around imitating famous beauties that of the 70s and dressing like them and also bringing their escort. She's done Sonny and Cher, for example. I heard, and this might not be true, that the problem with the jewelry theft was not only a jewelry theft, but a great beating. I am a woman who goes to the thrift shops to find jewelry, and there's a lot of jewelry at certain times at the thrift shops. They have lots of it. Perhaps it's because people who run the thrift shops, like the church basements, don't necessarily agree with the idea of wearing jewelry in the first place. So let me put it in perspective why I bother to go to the jewelry in the first place, and why, after all these jewelry-related crimes, and myself too has been beaten because of jewelry, I still continue to do so. If you read anything about fashion, and I've been reading of fashion since a small girl, there's different ages where you're permitted to do different things. By the time you reach your middle age, many things are forbidden. You have a lot of the joy taken out of wearing clothing. You're not allowed to wear all the exaggerated things. You're not to have work with the cut, make it too short or too long. You're not to have too many bright colors. You're not to have bold patterns. You're not to have whimsy. But they say what you're supposed to do because you're in your middle age is to show affluence by wearing bling. And bling, you could translate bling into two different kinds of things. Bling could be your clothing, which you have like the sparkles on it. You could wear that. But mostly I think bling means jewelry. If you find yourself in a position of, first of all, not being as wealthy as you would like to be, and be mingling with people who have a lot of money, it comes to a head when people are expecting you to dress a certain way. One of the things that you're supposed to do, especially in your middle age, is not make waves, okay? If you are in a relatively distinguished place and you happen to find yourself in a position less desirable financially, you're not to tell people that. How could they conduct business if you're there? So that is why I think the thrift shops are full of pretty good quality jewelry, not genius for people who don't want to make waves to come and mingle into different places and perhaps get out of the condition of poverty which they might find themselves in, which is why they're going to the thrift shops in the first place. The problem is, I find there's a lot of beatings if you wear jewelry when you get there. If you find a really good piece of jewelry, which most of the thrift shops, and not all, and church basements and bazaars, make it a point to try to make sure that none of the really expensive jewelry gets there. If they do, it's either a mistake or sometimes they'll shoot in something, but really pricey things not. That's one thing. The second thing, you will not find just anybody going through the stuff in these places, in establishments like that, who do not have the qualification to choose what is good and what is not. You have some very gifted PhDs and historians who are going in there quietly every day, day after day, going through the junk, and yes, some of it is dangerous, and seeing what is permissible and acceptable for people to wear. So I don't really understand exactly why jewelry-related brutality has been cropping up. One of the things I think might be is there's some sort of glut in the thrift shops and bargain basements that I go to, so much so that tons of jewelry or an appropriate amount of jewelry are being hung for people to take. To me, the clearest thing of if you want to show wealth or if you want to get rid of your condition of poverty is to go to the jewelry section. Yes, you could. Fantasy jewels are quite acceptable. You don't have to have precious. Precious is great, but fantasy jewels, high quality fantasy jewels, are excellent as well. I don't think that there's a huge amount of stolen merchandise going into the thrift shops. There's first of all, I have to clarify, if someone steals something from a house, likes to take everything in, the first thing they're going to do is dump it really fast into thrifts. That's what they do. For example, I've seen actually somebody steal a designer's line of clothing and just shoot it at the thrifts, and the next day it was there on the rack. I got in trouble with that, actually. So I think the only reason I could figure out of jewelry related incidences is either that some of that jewelry is more expensive or more important than is realized. And that could be a problem either on both sides, the people who are giving it or the people who are taking it. But I would have to tend to say that it's the people who buy it that might be mistaken, or perhaps it's put into a retail shop by mistake. Because they too have important people, but perhaps some things are so expensive that people don't really understand that's the real thing. So when somebody takes it and is expected to go to an event and wear a solid, good piece of jewelry, there's a problem. Let's say something else. If you've seen the Taylor Swift video, you will see that she was hurt very badly in a large bathtub of jewels, indicating that perhaps she was wasteful or greedy. If you're collecting jewels in a thrift shop, most of the jewels, if not all, will not be of sterling quality. Okay, so I was told that you have to collect a lot and you mix them. I've actually happened to mix them quite well. Number one. Number two, they're also gotten for a song. And maybe if someone, I think one of the things to think of the future would be a thrift shop or a bargain basement where people actually put things in for people to make money to get out of the condition of poverty, particularly. Because the legend has it that there are some very wealthy people that come down to the thrift shops because they don't want anyone to have this certain jewel or not. But that's perhaps too radical a thought. If you're collecting jewelry like that, she can't possibly wear it all the time, but she could certainly be looking for someone to buy it. If there's a problem that you can't exactly wear it again for embarrassing situations, one in particular I could think of, someone gave it to you who's a significant other, and it's very expensive and you loathe it, and you duly wear it for the several times, 3 years, 6 years, but after a time it's wasting space and you give it, and still the person that got you at an incredible expense is going to be mortified to find you give it away. And as luck would have it, somebody wears it and the next thing they realize it's theirs. I don't know, but having said that, how is it going to be publicized that there's this whole bunch of jewelry that's expensive or good quality, and some women and men know the quality because they've been both up and down, if you don't wear it? I thought, first of all, the first thing that I said is that if you want to avoid embarrassment completely, you're looking for jewelry makers, and you take the whole thing that you have and discombobulate it. But that you're lowering the price dramatically, and if you're making trouble to collect it in the first place, I'm going to put a link on to the Taylor Swift YouTube video. You'll see that it's a waste of time and money to just completely negate the price. You have to understand they do go a lot of trouble, and if both Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift perhaps were getting in trouble, there might be a complete problem. And that's a glut of jewelry in the thrift shops. Not jewelry that you can wear, but jewelry that A, you're either supposed to wear badly to show that you're poor, or B, you're not supposed to wear at all. And if you're not supposed to wear it at all, I would suggest that people who are giving it to the thrift shops because they want to avoid embarrassment, to realize that if they have gotten to the thrift shop, chances are someone in their very community could go to that thrift shop too. Or else how would they know about it? I'm going to put this on my blog because I'm just writing it now, Saturday morning ad hoc. Excuse me if there's things that are confused, but I have a lot. I'm going to fix up. So I'm going to write about it because all these thoughts are going in my mind of what to do to avoid beatings, and their gross beatings, social disgrace, which is another one, and beatings by jewelers, actually, too, and competitive people from international places. The beatings are severe. If I would tell you, just to show you how bad they are, that the one place that Taylor Swift was not wearing makeup was when she looked like a monster. That's how severe the jewelry beatings are. This is a cry for attention and for someone to solve the problem so that we can wear the jewelry as people who are A, in an impoverished or desperate situation with money, and B, want to regulate it or solve it with something that is so fantastically beautiful, important, and very, very timely and civilized, indicative of our culture, jewelry. This is Kathy Vivian Fabian speaking to you, and I will be putting this on my Ambition Jewelry blog. Have a great Saturday. Good day.